You're listening to Parts and Charts. I'm Chelsea Owens, a therapist certified in internal family systems, and my co-host, KP Kajabowski, is an astrologer. We're testing the theory that IFS and astrology are mapping the same inner territory. Every episode, we put that to the test. Glad you're here. Hello.
Hello. We've got Otto with us today, a little doggy.
He's an Aquarius, I think.
He's an
we think.
Aquarius.
He acts like a Pisces.
He's going to lead the pod today.
Yeah, Otto, what do you want to talk about? How cute you are. Look at him. He's so sweet.
He is so cute.
Okay, do you want down? He wants more pets. Hi, Chelsea. You are in a new
Hello.
location. How does it feel?
Yes. I'm in the same time zone as you. That's exciting. Midwest. What up? And you only have a few more days in your current place, and then you're
Yes.
moving. Is that right? Moving
Yeah.
to... Where are you moving?
One
You
of the
don't have to say.
capitals. Yeah.
One of the
One of the capitals of the world.
world.
Maybe you can guess by the state I live in, but
A Midwestern capital.
mhm.
A college town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big
be really
university
exciting.
town.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's where
Yeah.
I came from as well, so I get it.
St.
Mhm.
Louis, right?
That's where I went to college, but not where I
Yeah.
grew up. Yeah.
Oh, you're from Lincoln. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Born. Yeah, that's the capital.
Nice.
I know. I
Yeah.
always find I have like a kinship with other people who are born in capital cities of their states.
There is a vibe.
I know. They get it.
Like you have more experience with government people and yeah.
I know.
Yeah. You've been in a
Right.
government building, not because of breaking the law. Yeah.
Totally.
Do you see Otto?
Yeah, he's so cute.
Okay. He's Marty doesn't know that we're recording. Okay. So glasses
We're
off.
like so distracted. This is like our summer episode. We're just like, yeah, we're
Yeah,
just
man.
hanging out, talking about capitals. I
We're day.
said before we recorded, you're like, what are you interested in right now? And I'm like, going to the pool. You were like asking about like business related
Mhm.
interests. And I was like, going to the pool. It's not pool weather right now. I was promised, 90-degree heat because that's what it's usually like in August in the Midwest. And
Yeah.
it's like 64 and thunderstorms right now, which is also beautiful. And I don't get to experience that very much in San Francisco. But I was really looking forward to like just sweating my ass off and, working on my tan, being outside.
Yeah.
And it's not happening. So this is kind of a disappointment.
I apologize on behalf of all weather systems in
Midwest.
the Midwest. Yeah. Yeah. From my perspective, I am loving the 60 degrees because last year
Yes.
my husband and I do a morning walk. My
Mm.
husband, Otto, and I do a morning walk. And last year it was so hot that like we would get pissy with each other just like 3 blocks
Mhm.
down on the walk because it was so sweaty and terrible.
Mhm.
So I'm just very happy to continue my walks.
Yeah.
I won't be living by Lake Michigan anymore. I see Lake Michigan every day and I won't be close enough to her very soon.
That's so sad.
But I will deal.
Yeah.
I will deal with it. There's a bunch of other little lakes. And also, did you know that Wisconsin has 20,000 lakes and
Wow.
and Minnesota has 10,000 and they brag about it?
They do. I know. It's on their license plate.
Yeah. We have twice as
Wow.
much
Why doesn't
and I don't know why I'm
Wisconsin
competitive
use that in their marketing?
because we're good folks and we have cheese. That's more important to us.
Yeah. I know. Everyone loves the cheese. I
Mhm.
love cheese curds. Oh my gosh.
My butt doesn't enjoy the cheese.
Yeah. Same. I know.
No, I have lactate. I have my lactate now.
I had some cheese curds. I had some like garlic dill cheese curds from the farmer's
Oh,
market last
yum.
week. Yeah. When I was
I love
visiting my
those.
mommy. And I could eat the whole freaking like bag. Like I
Yeah.
just couldn't stop. It's just so
Yeah.
easy.
That and strawberries and almonds are my favorite
Mhm.
picnic combination.
Charcuterie. Nice.
Choo-choo. In the family, we were making fun of the word charcuterie, so we call it choo-choo boards.
Oh.
Anyway, that's some gab. We were talking about the
Some gab.
eclipse and parts and
Well,
how
did you want
the
to
last...
mention what we might be doing in the fall?
Yeah. Maybe I should start with I have been reading a few books, but I'm reading Stephen Arroyo's. I don't know if I'm saying his name right. Stephen Arroyo. His book Astrology, Psychology, and the Four Elements: An Energy Approach to Astrology and Its Use in the Counseling Arts. And it is so thorough, and the argumentation is so clear. I'm loving it, and it's also I'm a really slow reader, so it's taking me I'm reading only 3 pages at a time, basically, because I'm trying to absorb everything that he's saying. And there's so many great quotes in it. Anyway, yesterday, I read the part where he's talking about the different phases of education and how when we teach astrology, and sometimes when we teach counseling, we skip over the Virgo part of education. So the mutable signs are the process of education. Gemini is the building blocks of information, and that's primary and secondary school. And then Virgo is the apprenticeship, or the practical application of what you've learned, but you aren't an expert yet. And then Sagittarius is expert level, professor level, teacher level. And then Pisces is you go back to devotion and service. So a spiritual leader, an elder kind of part of the education process, learning process. But in American culture or Western culture, we oftentimes skip over the Virgo portion of that cycle, which is so important. I'm curious what you think about this too. It's you get the degree in counseling, you get the license, and then, okay, now you're a therapist. Now you can take clients forever. Da, da, da. But what he's arguing is that there needs to be more of the apprenticeship, the practice, the getting real life experience with real life people. And he's saying this about astrologers too. It's we don't really have a typical way of learning astrology. And he's I don't want us to have a hierarchical, how the education system is set up for astrology, because it is so intuitive and it's not empirical like most sciences are. All sciences are. But if you are learning astrology, it is that Virgo part that is the longest part, and we're treating it like it's the shortest part of the education process. So that was really interesting, and I agree with him. And I feel like I will be in the Virgo mode of astrology for a very long time. I don't expect me to get out of that mode in this lifetime. Maybe, I don't know. I'm only 30 something, so we'll see. But I like how he put that. So this is all to say that I'm studying up on astrotherapy, counseling therapy, the counseling arts. I'm not a counselor myself. I'm not a therapist myself. I'm considering becoming one someday. And also, we've been talking with astrotherapists in our community by the nature of having this podcast, and Chelsea being a budding astrologer and a licensed IFS, a certified IFS therapist, a licensed therapist. So we're planting a seed right now as I utter. We want to find a really accessible way for people who are in the field of astrotherapy, and however you define that, to get together for a virtual summit maybe, or a virtual conference, virtual play date. So we're thinking about that. We're talking with some people on getting that organized in a way that would be, I wanted to feel like Hildegard von Bingen about it, if you know what I mean, where it's free, available, but still really deep and nourishing. Yeah. So making sure that from the beginning to the end, it feels maybe democratic is the best way to put that. So that's what I'm thinking. And Chelsea, do you have something to add to that? Did I forget something?
There will be Gregorian chants then.
Hildegard von Bingen.
Summits are really hot right now. Is that right? That's a trend.
I like them. them.
Yeah. It's where, I imagine something that's just kind of short and sweet, only a few hours. Yeah. Online. Really, really jam it in with as much as we can. Yeah.
And different options for people to move to a different room or not.
Yeah. Right.
What I've experienced with summits is that I like it when they're organized by people who don't make it about their own business. And that's when it's been not so interesting to me, when it feels like it's just
Yeah.
a marketing funnel for one person. But the people where the summit sit is like, it's like an idea and then everyone shares their own perspective on it or their practice about it. Like those are really exciting to me, especially as someone like, I can't travel for every one of these conferences I really want to go to. So I love the virtual ones. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. That'll be so fun. Yeah. It's going to happen.
Yeah. Sometime in the fall. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're listening to this and you're excited about that, let us know.
Yeah.
Or if you want to
yeah.
participate in some way, let us know.
Yeah. If you know someone who would
You
be
wanna
a
present?
great speaker. Yeah.
Yeah.
Email us. Okay. So I thought it would be fun. I was going back over the first few episodes of this podcast that we started publishing in the spring, or was it was June last year. And I was just listening back to like Chelsea's presentations on IFS when I still am very new to IFS. So it was interesting to hear how like you talk to me as a beginner, and I want to kind of come back to the beginner quote unquote concepts again and kind of ask you questions now that I have more experience with them.
Yeah.
Specifically around like the conception of parts and how like pre-IFS, pre-parts work, how did psychology kind of talk about our inner workings and stuff like that? So my first question for you, Chelsea, should you accept, is like, how would you describe parts to maybe a teenager or someone who's like really new to even thinking about inner life or psychology?
Yeah. I mean, okay, well, first, maybe with like a younger person, maybe like a teenager, I'd first ask if they've seen Inside Out. I think that's like the first, maybe the most common example that people give of seeing this inner working, inner system, kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, anthropomorphized. Is that the word I should use? Like to see all of your emotions as figures, as beings, as like talking entities, making decisions and, performing a function. And so I think that's a beautiful example. Like if anyone is like, I still don't get this, like just go watch that movie. But there's 2 movies now, so watch both of those movies. Second one's like actually pretty good. I like the second one. So that's where I would ask a young person or even an adult too, because a lot of adults are like, oh, I saw this movie with my kids and like it was, that's kind of what IFS is like, right? And I'm like, yeah. I would also maybe start with, I heard somebody else on a podcast talk about this or like explain this as a way to kind of teach about IFS, starting with polarizations and explaining, because everyone can understand having 2 feelings at once that are, opposite of each other. So I would maybe start there too, like this tension that you can probably notice in your body when you're thinking about maybe a decision. Mostly it's around decisions, I think, but not all the time. Or maybe just an event or like really think of any topic in your life that feels like it has a charge to it that maybe feels unresolved in some way. Like maybe there is a question, like, should I do this or that? Like, should I marry this person? Like last episode, I'm dating this man, I'm unsure if I should marry him. Well, I'm sure there's going to be, if there's a question of that, there's probably going to be a polarization, right? So thinking about that, how does that land in your body? Like, there's probably a part that's like, yes, I do really want to marry this person. There's probably a part that's like, I don't know. Like, I'm so unsure about it. And here's the reasons why. And here's the reasons why I want to or I should. So just thinking about polarizations in the body, like how that shows up and how there's 2 different things going on here. There's probably more than that too. Like, I don't want to limit it to just, this or that, or just 2 options, because there's probably more. Polarizations could be many more than just that. So I would also explain it that way. Like, have you ever had a thought and then, or a feeling, and then had, an opposite thought or feeling? Like, there you go. Like, we are multiples. We contain
Yeah.
multitudes. And it's not pathology. It's not like, it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. It doesn't mean that you have multiple personality disorder, which is not what we call it anymore. But, it doesn't mean that you are like pathological in any way. It's like actually super common. Right? And when we start to pay attention to what these like voices or beings are saying or feeling or thinking or doing, you start to recognize like, oh yeah, okay, that's a part. That's a part. That's a part. Does that help?
Yeah. I mean, I said before we started recording, I don't want this to be all about astrology, but this is making me think of the Libra energy, which is like the stereotypes of Libras are that they can't make a decision. And it's oftentimes because they're considering opposites or like many different points of
Yeah.
view and they're, trying to reconcile between them. And so it's
Yeah.
almost impossible to make a decision between two equally strong feelings or desires. So that's what's coming to mind for me.
Yeah.
And also just like almost every big life decision usually has a polarized like two parts. Like, should I move to a capital or should I can I continue living in a vacation town on Lake
Wow.
Michigan? Yeah, and being able to discern or to choose your life, honoring both of those parts,
Mhm.
values, priorities, whatever you want to call it. So I'm thinking about how like priorities are also parts. If you're thinking
Mhm.
about like your business, like there are 20 different things that you have to prioritize. And at any given time, you choose one priority to focus on, then you go to the next and you make sure that all of them are being held or someone's handling them. Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's where my mind is
Yeah.
going. It's like applying it to business,
Right.
applying it to life decisions and
Yeah,
astrology.
totally.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think parts just want to be heard.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, hearing every part's worries and concerns and desires and, all of their thoughts, I think that really helps the whole system.
Yeah.
And it sounds really simple, but it can be really, really hard in practice because if something's supercharged in the system, um, against something else, like if there's a part that is like, oh my God, I'm so worried about X, Y, and Z happening. If we listen to this other part, if that other part gets some airtime, something really bad could happen. So I'm going to shut that down
Yeah.
and that we cannot go there. That's not possible. And that kind of thing happens all the time. And then, parts will rebel. Like if they're not being heard, they're probably going to get a little amped up as well. If they're being threatened or exiled and, if the whole system is against it or, um, if there's any like possibility that, yeah, it's not liked, that can really cause a lot of problems for the part, right? And then that could cause a lot of problems for the whole system. So,
Yeah.
hearing everybody out sounds so great in practice. And in reality, it's like, that's actually really hard for a lot of parts to let that happen, to relax enough so that everyone can have time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. On an early episode, you said like making space, like practicing making space creates more space for the parts to give each other. Do you maybe want to
Hmm.
talk a little bit about that concept?
Yeah, making space. So, like I just mentioned, if there's a part that is really, really blended or like really activated, really charged up, we'd want to hear what that part's concerned about. But if I'm getting the sense that we actually want to work with some other part, like there's some other target part that we're working with, I would ask to just have this other one give us a little space or like take a step back or, we're trying to get this part to unblend, right? To, give us some space so that we could work with this other part. It's hard to like explain these things because it's so abstract in concept.
Yeah.
And when you're actually working with it, it makes a lot more sense. And when you like see it, experienced, it's like, oh, okay, that makes more sense. So now I'm kind of talking about, this and that part. And so it could be kind of hard to follow, but especially if you're not trained in the model and it's like, what the hell are we talking about? But essentially what we're doing is just asking parts to take a step back and make a little space so that it's like, he always uses this metaphor, but it's kind of like in family therapy, if you're sitting with a family and you have kids and two adults in a family session and the therapist is asking like one of the kids a question like, how did this, horrible event affect you? Like how were you impacted? How do you feel? And the dad jumps in and is like, oh, it didn't affect her at all. Like she's fine. And then the therapist is like, can you take a step back? Like, can you give us some space? I would like to hear from her. I'd like to hear from the child. Like, please don't talk for her. Like, I don't need you to answer. Like, kind of like shut up and sit down, You're not like saying it like that, but that's kind of, you're like, this isn't for you to answer. I'm asking her. So you'd ask for that person to step aside so that you can continue the dialogue with the person that you're talking to that you want to find out more information from. So that's kind of what we're doing internally is that parts will step in and they'll be like, well, this and this and this, or they'll just want to take over or answer for the other parts, insert themselves. And we know why they're doing that because they're trying to protect and they think they know the best answer or they know better than the other ones, right? So it makes sense, but you're really not going to get anywhere if you just have other parts like answering for each other or,
Yeah.
you're not going to actually get to the healing directly with some of those parts if other ones are just kind of always stepping in, trying to help. Does that make sense?
Yeah. But it's because I've been led through it by you and my IFS coach, Linda.
Yeah, I know.
So I while you're talking, is like, yeah, that was a wild one. There were a lot of parts that wanted to speak on the behalf of everyone else. There were two dragons like trying to kill each other, and then at the end they were like having fun.
What?
Yeah. Do you have like a narrative? Do you remember or feel comfortable sharing a narrative when you had lots of parts trying to speak for each other in your own system, or is that not what you want to talk about?
That doesn't really happen in my system. Yeah, personally, I don't really have that come up because all my parts are pretty, I know my system pretty well and my parts really trust me. So, but I feel like I'm not a good example. Um, because I've
you have
done
a
so
12th
much
house
work.
sun.
I've just done so much work. So it's like, yeah, then maybe that would have happened like 10 years ago. If I found this
Yeah.
10 years ago, probably would have been a different story. But now, yeah, not so much. Maybe every once in a while, like a really self-like part, a part that has a lot of access to self will like, kind of step in and want to take over or help out or say something for other parts or kind of give me information about the story or about other parts. Just doesn't, yeah, it's just like I'm so aware of it now that I'm like, oh, that's happening. And it just doesn't have as much amplification as it used to.
Yeah. Have you worked with an IFS therapist for yourself recently, or how do you do IFS just with yourself?
I haven't worked with, well, just with colleagues, like we'll kind of do consultation and, kind of work, not like therapy necessarily, but kind of work with our own systems and gently guide each other. So not like real, real therapy or with a real therapist recently. Yeah.
So my actual question is like, do you prefer having a guide versus doing it with your own parts in yourself?
Oh, for sure, having a guide. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine, even if I understood the model, like at your level, like being certified in it, I don't think I would want to do it just with
I don't,
myself, unless it
yeah,
was
I
like
don't think
art
I could.
therapy.
I don't think it
Yeah,
matters like how experienced I am. It doesn't matter because that's not even the point.
yeah,
Even though I know it all, it doesn't matter because I still need somebody else to guide me. It again, it's like it's hard to explain because you have to like really experience it to understand what I'm saying.
yeah,
It's not the same at all when you're just with yourself. I mean, you could do a certain amount of work by yourself, but it's really just like, I don't know, reflecting, being with your parts. I just don't think I could be in self energy leading a session for myself that wouldn't be super parts led because I just feel like we wouldn't go anywhere.
yeah,
Because if we were trying to go somewhere, I feel like it would have to be parts driven. And then it's like, obviously, there's an agenda there. I just don't think like my brain and like everything inside of me could do both of those things at once, which is why
yeah,
I just, you have to have somebody else on the outside, like tracking this and gently guiding it because it's like I'm not
yeah,
fully like, I'm like conscious, but I'm not like, if I, because when I'm the therapist and I'm guiding somebody else, like, yes, I'm aware of like any parts of me that are showing up and I'm really trying to be in self energy as much as I can. But I'm also like super attuned and like I'm really, really present to what's happening. But I'm like, I'm really turned on. Like my brain is on to what is happening. Like I'm super conscious of it. And I'm thinking, like I'm still thinking quite a bit. And so I'm using like there's a lot going on for me and it just I couldn't I don't think I could do that and also like super be with my own parts
no.
like embodied and like open and all of the things like I just don't think you could. Maybe some people can, I don't know,
I,
maybe, but I just really don't think it's
yeah.
like as beneficial, to be honest. I think it's like you're asking too much of yourself
From my
and it's yeah.
experience, like being guided is all of my brain power, you know? So I couldn't imagine how much more, because I don't have the capacity for more brain power to guide myself.
I
You
know.
know, there's
Yeah.
so much happening. It's not, I'm like anyone who's listening who hasn't experienced IFS, it's not overwhelming. There's just
No.
so much movement and like you're noticing a lot. Yeah. So I'm
Yeah,
just
and
curious if you could.
when your like eyes are closed and you're in your own system, like you're kind of in a different world.
Yeah.
And like so then to ask your brain to be online as well, it's just like then it would just become a really cerebral process. And then it would just be like
Yeah.
manager driven and be like, all right, now we're gonna do this, now we're gonna do that. Yeah. And for those of you who haven't experienced IFS, it's like the therapist role is asking questions. Like asking questions, but also like there's a very specific protocol that we follow. And so doing that, it's like and to me, that is like, yeah, you kind of have to use your brain for that. It's not just like purely like, I don't know, you're not just like making things up, that feel okay or feel good. It's like on the fly. Like it's
Yeah.
very specific and planned out almost. So yeah, it's like to be in that like gooey, like warm, blissful feeling of being in self energy and being with your parts. Yeah, just like kind of thinking and using your brain too much can really take you out of it, I think.
Yeah.
So all of that
The
to
other
say,
thing,
I don't have to keep like belaboring this point, but like it's way easier to have a guide.
yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing that happens that I now can speak to is that the longer you work with someone, so I'm working with someone every week over time, the more she's understanding, she's more attuned to me. So she's understanding more about how my system feels and is shaped. And she is also aware that I practice psychism and like I channel messages, and art and writing usually comes to me from like the noetic place or whatever, the
Mm.
no zone. I don't know how to describe it. So when she notices that I'm going more into that space where I'm gathering a lot of information, like visual, texture and stuff like that, she knows, okay, let's get back. You know, like in our first session, she didn't know that about me. So that's another reason why I like having a guide to keep me from going down
I
a
know.
path that is delicious, but not quite helpful in that moment
Yeah.
is really, really
Yeah.
important. Because we could
Yeah.
spend forever like finding out the symbolic meaning of this little tree sapling that showed up. Or we could continue listening to the part, you know?
Yeah. I think that's a good point, and I think I know that about your system as well, because 'cause you're
Yeah.
so descriptive and your imagination is, like, so vivid, and you're a writer and, yeah, you're psychic. I honestly wonder if, like, psychic people or people who dabble in, like, other mediums, like psychism, mediumship, are harder to work with because they're so used to, like, getting information, seeing visuals, or however whatever their clairs are,
Hmm.
and that could almost be, like, a little confused with, like, parts work
Yeah.
because it's like, "Whoa, okay, I'm seeing a horse crossing a river," like, "Okay, is that a part or is that a part, like, making something up about a memory? Like, is it psychic information? Like, all of it could be a little intertwined,
Yeah.
but, um, it's almost like maybe some of these folks are so used to doing something one way, and so now doing parts work is a little bit different. So it's like you kinda have to, I don't know, learn this other language, even though some of those channels might still be the same. Like, you're still kind of tuning into some of these channels, but, now you're getting, like, different information, but you also have to recognize where it's all coming from,
Yeah.
and that a part could just be showing you something psychic or showing you this really descriptive, I don't know, image that means
Yeah.
something, but it's, like, literally a part's just showing you something. It may have nothing to do with your past or the part itself. So, yeah, I feel like there's a little bit of maybe extra layers of, like, helping client understand their own, like, what's a part and what's not a part, and what and it's all about, like, okay, just ask if it's a part. Like, it doesn't have to be difficult. Just ask if that's a part, ask what it's showing you.
Yeah.
Um,
There's two things coming to mind. I think that I'm very grateful that I'm working with someone who is so skilled, like has many years of experience in different ways. And I think that's why she's been so great for me is because she has a lot of different perspectives and she's
Good,
just
yeah.
has a really good handle on the model. The other thing is a poet friend of mine said something that has helped me with understanding when I'm getting a psychic message versus like anxiety or dream or whatever. And
Yeah.
I'm going to get it wrong. I always get these wrong, but there's two gates in Hades. This is like a Greek myth thing. There's two gates in Hades. One is the gate of pearls, one is
Oh,
the gate of milk, or something like that. And one is the gate where dreams come through. So these are things that are not happening, but they are information, you
mhm,
know. And then the other gate is like psychic messages, like
mhm,
prophetic messages. And so when you get to understand how it feels to get a prophetic message versus a dream, they do have a very different texture. And I think I'm saying pearl and milk because to me they feel like pearls and milk, like how those feel different in texture.
mhm,
But it's probably not pearl and milk. It's probably two different things that I'm not remembering.
hmm,
So when I'm in session, in the IFS session with my coach, Linda, I can tell when the second information is it's milkier. And then when I'm
hmm.
getting like actual like parts messages, I don't know if it's pearl. It doesn't feel like pearl information, but it feels more like grounded, I guess, or more like I'm listening to another person who's alive and well, you know.
Mhm.
So yeah, it just takes a while. It is taking me a while to notice the difference, and I'm not there yet, but
You're
thought
so
I would share
cute.
that. Thank
There's
you.
2 gates to Tahiti. You're just, like, the best.
I'll maybe remember to
If
put in
I
the
had
show
a
notes.
client like you, I would just be like, I want to hear about the gates of Hades. And I'd be like, oh, wait, we have to get back to parts. Hold on.
But I'm not saying it correctly. I don't even know where the source is. Like, I'll just call my friend CG Dolan again and be like, what did you say? I've already asked him 3 times to repeat it to me. Anyway.
I feel like, I don't know, maybe Libra suns, they just kind of go off on tangents too. And I just feel like
I resent
because
that.
they have like a 10-page description of something and it's so beautiful and then you're kind of over here now and then you're like, okay, wait, we got to get back over here. But that was really beautiful.
Thank you. I think Libra suns with a Libra Mercury. If you had a Virgo Mercury, it would be a very different experience. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, but I had a question.
But that also brings me back to, well, I think I want to ask you because you're telling us a little bit about your own system, how you experience your parts. Like, yeah, how do you experience most of your parts?
So I don't know any other way. But
there's only a one way for you.
Yeah.
It's unique.
It's so visual and it's so character-y. A lot of my parts show up as beings with faces. So there's an episode where my talking part showed up and it was like a very glorious snake, like a very glamorous snake.
Dazzling.
And then I didn't know at that time that almost every other part shows up as an animal, like a dragon. There were only a couple times where there were humans, you know? But I think it's because my psyche has been fed animal fables so much or like mythology so much, which is like, so animals talk and animals have desires, you know, it's like, it's not so strange to me, but that might be very strange to someone else. I also grew up with like lots of pets around me. Like my cousins had every type of pet you could ever have. And I always had 2 cats and a dog. So I think that's another reason why.
You're Snow White.
I'm Snow White. That's funny. My poet friend calls me Snow White just by the way that I talk. And I guess my pale skin. But yeah. So in essence, like it's so visual and it's like, it's so visual. It's like I'm watching a movie sometimes. And when it is that clear, I feel like that's when I'm like really in self energy. I just like, because it's so clear to me, like who's talking and why. And there's a lot of space and it feels like, it's not like I'm like watching a scene play out in front of me. Like I don't have control, but it's just, it's really cool. And with psychism, sometimes I don't have that clear of a movie image, but I always have images too. So I guess I'm just a very visual person. And I think it's because I've set boundaries with my inner spaces. Like I don't like to hear, we were talking about this before the recording. I don't like to hear things because it's really disorienting to me to hear things that aren't actual. Like I love to hear my AC going. I love to hear the tree in the background when I'm in a psychic space because that grounds me. But if I hear a part speaking, it's really overwhelming to me. And I don't know why, but I'm just like trusting that. I also get a lot of somatic information. With parts, I very much get a lot of somatic information about like, especially like their state, not necessarily their emotion. So I would say it's visual and somatic primarily. And then what are the other ways it could happen? I don't know. And that was my question for you, is like, how do parts show up for other people in your experience that's different from me?
When you're watching the movie, I will answer that, but when you're watching the movie, are the characters aware of you yet?
Yeah.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Most of the time, I would say there's some parts who are just kind of aware of each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like the dragons that were angry at each other, I don't think were aware of me. But there was a judging part that was very aware of me and very aware of them. And it was kind of like a go-between part. And that was a really interesting, it's a very important session I had that helped me make my decision to move, actually.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, there was a lot of there's a lot of tension because it's basically moving back home, and so we explored why it felt tense. And then now, like, I just can't tell you how much how many years of like healing and perspective shift happened in 10 minutes with that
Wow.
part session. Like, yeah. Yeah,
It's IFS, baby.
I'm a big believer.
She's a
Yeah.
believer. Yeah.
I'm a believer.
I love the way you say dragon. It's dragon.
Dragon.
It's just.
Dragon. I might be leaning in and I just don't know it. Dragon.
Do you think the accent's gonna get thicker where you're going, or
Probably not.
are they less thick there?
In the capital? Yes, it's less thick.
What you think?
Yeah, because it's a university city, a lot of
True.
foreign students, and yeah, it's not as
Yeah.
thick. Also, where I grew up close to there, it's not as thick as where I live now. Like Milwaukee,
Really?
Milwaukee is so. If you are from Milwaukee, you have the Milwaukee accent. Like it's it's
Really?
really intense. Yeah, yeah.
No
But Madison
kidding.
not as much. Yeah,
Really? No kidding.
in my
Okay.
experience.
Wow. That's amazing. Yeah. And probably like smaller towns too. I imagine
yeah.
would be thicker.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sweet. That's great.
So-
Well,
Are you going to answer my question now?
yeah, everyone experiences them differently. I also experience my parts visually. They can range from an actual person or a younger version of me to, just like a blob or like a shape, like a gray shape or, a cloaked figure. I don't know if I've really had animal. I mean, I probably have, but nothing comes to mind right now. So they're usually like more human-like figures, but not everyone experiences them visually. I don't want I don't want that to sound like that's the norm, because a lot of people don't experience that, and they could think like there's something that they're doing wrong if they're not experiencing them visually. People can experience them somatically, like you said, like just sensations in the body, like, aches and pains, or however sensations show up. It can be auditory. It can just be like, I'm just hearing what this is saying. It could be like just kind of a felt sense, like energetic. Like I just kind of know this is here, and I can't really place it in the body. I just kind of know that it's here and I'm talking to it. It can also be like outside of your body too. Like not everything has to be like inside. It could be like right here, How else? Maybe there's more than that. Maybe I'm limiting, but
But this sounds
that's
like
what I
all the
normally see.
clairs,
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's like claircognizance is like a knowing. You're not
Mhm.
you're not hearing a phrase, but you're knowing the information. Clairaudience is hearing. Yeah. Yeah. It's
Mhm.
interesting. I also have claircognizance often, but it's almost always visual and what's the one for the body? Clairsomatic? Clairsomatic?
Sentience?
Clairsentience. I
Sentience?
almost always get that first. And I kind of have to interpret, okay, I see like something blowing in the wind and my body feels sad. Like, what does that mean? Yeah. And then the cognizance comes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
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 This is a really great primer for parts.
For what?
Just like understanding how parts might be different for people. And also, like, is there something we're missing with the definition of like, what is a part? Why do we talk about parts so much?
I mean, it feels clear to me. So, but I'm in this world.
Yeah.
So it all makes sense to me, but I don't know what doesn't make sense to others.
Yeah.
At this moment. I
mean, right now I'm thinking
I really do think like I'm not like minimizing that at all, because I know that a lot of people do struggle to understand what it really means. If this is like so new to you, right, and you're coming from a totally different background or a different type of therapy, or maybe you have like a very analytical mind, a very like scientific analytical mind, and maybe your parts require a lot of like evidence or like explanation for something before you can grasp an idea or like believe it even. I see those folks a lot. So, it can take time for them to understand sometimes like this concept on an abstract level. And then I always say, like, yeah, I can explain IFS to you all day. We could read books about it. We could watch videos about it.
Yeah.
Like we could understand it with our minds forever and ever and ever. And you still may not get it until you actually like go inside and explore some of your own parts and like work with your own system. And that's, I think, like the most valuable, most like clear way to understand what we're talking about, which is annoying, right? Because I'm like, you won't really understand it until you do it. Like, just go do it. You have to go try this thing out. But like, it's true.
Yeah.
I think it changes everything for you once you actually experience it and really are truly present with your own system and discover that you even have parts and that parts are parts and that them really are waiting for you to be there for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is making me think of, so this year, basically, I've been not switching, I'm not switching anything. I've been adding the experience of like connecting with the planets in my birth chart as parts. And like you said about being analytical, like astrology is really great for analysis because you're putting together all of these different roving
Mhm.
details and data points and you're synthesizing them to interpret.
Mhm.
But that's outside of the body for me. And I thrive in an analytical space. We could guess why. Maybe it's my air dominance in my chart. Who knows? But when I started doing IFS with you and Linda, like I see so much benefit in just like the energetic sensing of parts.
Mm.
So I haven't met many planets yet, but I was really surprised by my moon. I was really surprised by my sun. I was really surprised by my Venus, really surprised by Vesta. And I'm a little afraid to
Mm.
meet Saturn because the understanding I got from meeting those planets was so wide, so helpful to me that I know that if I meet my chart ruler, it's going to probably change the way I do a lot of things because of the information I'm going to get. So there's, maybe it's a little intense and loaded, but I have to do it because I know how powerful that is. So anyway, Saturn's next.
Mhm.
My chart ruler.
Aw. I met
Yeah.
my son and it was great. But
Do you want to talk
again,
about it?
I'm sun ruled, so
Yeah.
that's a lot different from Mr.
Who knows? What if my Saturn's very sunny? What if he's so cheery? That'd be fun.
Like,
What
I
was your
don't know,
sun like?
Mr. California Raisin. I don't know why that came up for me. I feel like that could be a sunny Saturn. Just like,
Yeah, actually, because he dries things out.
yeah.
Yeah. Where's the top hat? Is there a top hat?
Yes. He has a cane too, right? Or am I thinking of Monopoly Man?
Or is that the
No, I think
peanut guy?
okay, California Raisin, they're like way, way more like surfer dude, right?
Maybe? I'll have to look this up.
I'm now blending like Mr. Peanut Man and California Raisins, but maybe that's what your Saturn's like.
I
Both
will
of them.
report back for sure. Do you want to share about your sun?
I honestly don't super remember a lot of details, so I don't really need to say much, but
Yeah.
she was powerful.
Cool.
She was
Cool.
exactly what I thought, sunny and powerful and chill. Yeah.
Nice. Nice. Mine. Oh, Chelsea. Chelsea's a person who introduced me to my son. And my son was a very fancy dressage woman who had a very special horse. And we were on the top of so many details, and then she took me to the barn or wherever, the stable where her horse is kept. And she like switched to like a very serious, like horse tender. She's like, you're not trying hard enough. So she's like, it was very performative. Like she was so beautiful and everything looked easy. And then behind the scenes, she's like, no, this is hard work. Like we
Wow.
work around the clock here, which gave me a lot of
Horse
information about.
girl.
Yeah, I have a lot of ancestral horse stuff. So that made sense for a horse to show up.
Really? That's so cool.
I was wondering when one of my planets would be the horse. So
Oh,
yeah.
there we go.
Yeah.
Wow.
Little tidbit. I think it's just so storybook. Is my dad's parents, my dad's grandparents, my dad's two grandpas were both mailmen who used horses to deliver mail in northern Wisconsin, and their routes were exactly next to each other, and they never met.
Whoa, that's so cool.
Their routes ended on the same like county road or whatever in the country, and they never met. But their children would marry each other.
That's so cool.
Isn't that wild?
My grandpa was a mailman too, but he didn't. He wasn't like on horseback.
Well, yeah,
but
your
still.
grandpa.
Because you're talking about your great grandpa, aren't you?
Yeah, that would be like must have been like the 1910s or 1920s, I think.
Yeah, got it.
Before the cars got up to
the Ford.
Yeah, before
locomotive
people were
times.
driving. Yeah.
Yeah, my grandpa. Well, yeah, he would have been like in the 50s, 60s, 70s, a mailman. Well, he was like in the army, of course, and then did mailman stuff.
Cool.
Isn't that crazy? He's a Capricorn.
We're brethren.
What does this say about our was that just like maybe that was a common profession for people
or
to
maybe the progeny of male people always do podcasts together. Eventually, we'll find out.
We'll test that theory. We'll track it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, that feels like a good wrap up. Thank you for this refresher on parts.
Yeah, this was fun. Let's do it again.
Are there any announcements we need to make?
I don't think so. My sweet little newsletter you can sign up for to get any updates for my Oracle deck or my channeled monthly messages. So we'll put that in the show notes. Sign up if you want either of those things in your inbox. It won't be super spammy. It'll be probably once a month. So look for that. What else?
I guess I do have announcements. Because Chelsea inspired me, I have recommitted to weekly Astro Archetypes newsletter. So that is, I'll put that in show notes too. So every week I look at the transits, the astrological transits, and I connect with what archetype is speaking. And then I find quotes and images that feel connected to that archetype. And then I write a little message, a pretty short message just to like help us center before the week happens. And that's through a newsletter. And I take clients. Chelsea takes clients. And I'm still taking, I'm doing meetings with people interested in book doula. It's not mentorship, it's a companionship while you're inside of a long book project. So if you're interested in that, reach out and I can talk to you about my process and if it might be a good fit for you. And I think that's everything. We also have a podcast and it's called Parts and Charts, the IFS and Astrology podcast. And we love this project and thank you for listening.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Thank you for joining us for Parts and Charts, the IFS and Astrology podcast. If something sparked insight or resonated with you, we'd love to hear from you.
No, really, we're here to make friends. Reach out to us. Leave a comment, subscribe, and if you feel called, share this episode with someone you care about. Or, if you want to work with us one-on-one and go deeper with this work, check the link in the show notes for how to find us.
Until next time, may all of you feel a part of the family.